what you want, what you want.
This is Dr. Leo, and welcome to Doc Matters. Today on Doc Matters Open Lines, we'll be taking calls on technical questions from viewers just like you. And I will be answering them, being somewhat of an expert myself, if I don't say so myself. So, today, the first call, Gary from Texas. Hello, Gary. Hey there, Lee. Leo, if you don't mind, sir. Leo, what's the difference? Well, that is rather droll of you, Gary. Well, anyway, let's get on to your first question. Well, my computer's running a little slow and acting kind of weird today, and I want to know what to do about it. Well, before we sort out what you consider is weird behavior for a computer, which I'm not really sure I myself want to know, let me ask you a few questions, and we'll see where it goes from there, shall we? Alright, the first question is this a onesie or twosie thing? Like, is this the first time it's happened, or does this happen before? Or is it a continuing problem? Well, my computer's acted weird before, but this is a different kind of weird, so I'd say this is the first time it's happened. Very well, so this is really the first time that this particular weird behavior, however you define that, has happened with this particular computer. I understand that. Okay, so now my next question would be, have you rebooted the computer yet? Heck no, why would I do that? Really, Gary, I think you're wasting my time and the viewers' time if you haven't at least made an attempt at rebooting the computer to make sure that didn't resolve the problem. Just why the heck would I reboot my computer? You blithering idiot. You bloody little turnip, you. You didn't reboot your computer before you called. And now you don't even understand why you would reboot your computer before you called. Well, I don't understand what good that would do anyway. Well, this is hardly my problem, is it now? You blithering absolute ninny. You bloody blooming numbskull. You silly little man. You didn't reboot your computer before you called. It's really wasting my time and the viewers' time, Gary. When you have a problem, the first thing you should do, obviously, is reboot the computer to see if that will resolve the problem. Well, I don't understand what good it would do to reboot the computer anyway. Well, it's hardly my problem that you don't understand why. So you should just take my word for it because I'm the expert and you're not. Alright, let me rephrase your question for you, because I'm such a nice man, and answer it so that even a simpleton like you will understand. When you start up a computer, or when you reboot it and it starts again, certain programs and data load at the time that the computer starts. Also, certain housekeeping is done when you shut down the computer and when you start up the computer, so it kind of gets its thing together, if you know what I mean. So if you're having a problem, sometimes the problem will be resolved by rebooting because the computer reloads everything, starts from scratch, and it may have to do some housework. Now, for example, when you do a Windows update, many times it will prompt you or force you to reboot the machine so that it can finish loading the program. So when a program loads, often it needs to be rebooted. But when you have several Windows updates being loaded at once, sometimes it may take another reboot or two for it to get everything straight. It will redo its housekeeping and check a few things and maybe run a script that it puts in or what have you. So you really need to reboot again, probably maybe twice, to get things to work. So even if you reboot and a problem isn't resolved, sometimes 2 reboots will actually resolve the problem. Another problem, which is usually resolved with only 1 reboot, is if you have something we refer to as a memory leak, which some people probably think Gary has himself. Memory leak is when you have when a program loads into memory, it takes up memory, of course, and then when you close down the program, it's supposed to release the memory, and if it's a very bad boy, it won't release the memory, and shame on it. It's what we call a memory leak, and so other programs don't have that memory to use. And it's kind of like if you cluttered up your living room and threw things about and someone came in, they'd be tripping on things now, wouldn't they? And that's kind of what happens with the program. They're bits and pieces of memory still unallocated or not reallocated or being used by a program that it left. And then she just left it willy-nilly on there, and you see what happens is the new program comes in and starts tripping over it, or is confused by this, or what have you, or maybe it has bad experiences with, other programs not cleaning up their little memory messes, and so it's unhappy, if you know what I mean. So, I hope that has answered your question, Gary. If it hasn't, I'm not really sure how that I care. So, before you call me with a question, please reboot your machines and make sure that doesn't resolve your problem. Because computers are still a little bit quirky things, and things happen, you reboot them and they're better. It would be good if you could do that with certain people, I think, but unfortunately we can't. Well, that's been Doc Matters, and I am Dr. Leo, and till next time, I hope you have just the most pleasant computing experience possible.
What you want, what you want. Come on.